Hey, night listener. Tonight we enter the shadows. The street is slick with rain. You hear it tap on your window like a slow metronome, counting down to something you've tried to forget. Streetlights hum, flicker, and cast distorted shadows that seem to move when you're not looking directly at them. The scent of wet asphalt and cigarette ash drifts through a cracked window. You never smoked, but someone did. Recently. There's something about tonight that feels like a mistake you haven't made yet. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Tell me where you're listening from, and tell me this: are you drawn more to the truth, the thrill, or the justice? Now lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. The house is wrong before you even step inside. You were never supposed to come back here. Not after the trial. Not after the whispers quieted down just enough for you to sleep without checking the locks twice. But something pulled you back, a phone call with no voice, just breathing, and coordinates in a text message you deleted, then wrote down anyway. You park on the gravel where her car used to sit. The porch light is dead, or maybe it never worked. You can't remember. The key is still under the third brick. That's the first red flag. She wouldn't have kept it there after what happened, after you left. The door creaks open like it recognizes you. Inside, the air is still. You listen. No footsteps, no voices. Just your own breath echoing too loudly. You step into the hallway. The floorboards protest beneath your weight. A reminder of every time you snuck in late, drunk, ashamed, or both. You told yourself you were done with this place. You told yourself you didn't leave anything behind, but you lied. And not just to yourself. There's something on the hallway floor. A single black feather, damp, curled slightly at the tip, as if whatever dropped it did so reluctantly. A memory tugs her obsession with crows. They never forget a face. She used to say, they mourn their dead. They watch. You turn toward the kitchen. That's where it happened. Not the murder, no. That came later. But the moment that led to it, a broken plate, a broken promise, and silence that stretched longer than any argument could. On the counter, a glass of water, full, no dust, no film on top. Someone's been here. Recently. You don't call out. Not because you're brave, but because you're sure you wouldn't like the answer. In the living room, the fireplace is clean, scrubbed clean, no ashes, no soot, not even a scent of old smoke, which is strange, because this room was full of fire the night you left. Not literal, but close. Her words still flicker in your ears. You'll regret not listening. You did listen. You just didn't believe. On the coffee table, you find something impossible. The manila envelope, the same one you saw burned. You watched it curl, blacken, crumble in her trembling hands. But here it is, unmarked, sealed. Your name is written on it. Your real name. Not the one you gave at the hearing. Not the one on your new ID. The envelope is warm. You don't open it yet. Because now you hear something. Footsteps upstairs. Slow, deliberate, wet. Your spine locks. Every instinct tells you to run. But you don't. Because the envelope in your hand is real. And so is the key tucked inside it. Small, old, ornate. Not a door key. A box key. Maybe a diary. Maybe a grave. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You pocket the key. The envelope stays in your hand. You start up the stairs. Every step sounds like a question you'll have to answer. And something tells you Whatever's waiting at the top already knows the truth. You just waited too long to say it out loud. The smile that knew too much. You climb slowly, your fingers trailing along the handrail, slick with condensation or sweat. The upstairs landing groans beneath your foot like it remembers the last time you stood there. That was the night she asked you, not in words, but in the look she gave you, the one that curled at the corner of her mouth, like a challenge or a dare. A smile that didn't match the words she spoke. You didn't realize it then, but you were being warned. You just didn't want to understand. The upstairs hallway is darker than it should be, even with the moon outside, even with the windows wide. The shadows pool too thick in the corners. You reach for the nearest door. It opens slowly, groaning on its hinges. The guest room, nothing's changed. Neatly made bed, chair by the window, the same old clock, ticking softly, except it's not plugged in, and it's ticking anyway. On the dresser, a framed photo, you and her, smiling, except her eyes are looking past the camera, and your smile is slightly wrong, crooked, like someone tried to recreate it from memory. You pick up the frame. The back is scratched deep, frantic lines carved into the wood. There are 3 words etched behind the cardboard. You knew first. You take a step back. The floor beneath the dresser creaks, then shifts. A hollow echo. You crouch and press your palm to the floorboards. There's something beneath. A compartment. You slide your fingers under the edge. Lift resistance. Then give. Inside, a small velvet pouch. Dusty, old, but not forgotten. You open it. Inside, a wedding ring. Not hers, not yours. A 3rd ring, masculine, thick, engraved on the inside. You squint under the hallway light. The inscription reads, "Say nothing." Your stomach turns. There was never supposed to be a 3rd person. You walk down the hall, past her room, though you don't dare go inside yet. Not now. Instead, you follow the scent. It's faint but familiar. Jasmine and bleach. It leads to the bathroom. The mirror is cracked 7 fractures from the top right corner, like spider legs crawling toward the center. Your reflection stares back you, but divided, refracted into different versions, none of them honest. One crack cuts straight across your mouth. You laugh, quiet, sharp, perfect. You mutter aloud. There's a note taped to the mirror, yellow paper, curling at the edges. One line, in red pen. Did you enjoy the funeral? Your jaw tightens. You weren't there. You couldn't be. You didn't even send flowers. The tub's clean, scrubbed too clean. The grout is bright white, unnaturally so. You lean closer. The edge of the drain still has something sticky. Dark brown, almost black. You don't touch it. Next to the tub, her toothbrush, blue, bent, as if someone had gripped it too hard. Below the sink, a wastebasket, empty. No liner, except for one thing, a Polaroid. You lift it carefully. The edges are curled, damp. The photo is of her, but not the version of her you remember. This one's recent. Pale, hollow eyes, lips curled into that same unreadable smile. But what chills you most is the man standing behind her. It's you, except it isn't, because the timestamp reads last week. You were in another state last week, and yet here you are, grinning behind her like you never left. The smile on his face, it knows something you haven't remembered yet. Your pulse starts to raise. You drop the photo, back away. Your legs carry you before your mind decides. You don't know where you're going, but you're moving down the stairs, back to the envelope, to the key. Because if someone's pretending to be you, then maybe they already are. You reach the bottom step and freeze. The front door is cracked open. You locked it. You definitely locked it. You stare at the gap. The wind moves through it softly, as if something just left or is still watching. You feel it behind your ribs now, the fear you've been holding off since the moment you arrived. That sickening realization that maybe you're not here to uncover the truth. Maybe you're here to confess. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And right now, someone else has it. A glove in the drain pipe. You slam the door shut, hard, twisting the bolt even though it won't stop what's already inside. You press your back against it like you're holding something out or in. The envelope is still on the table where you left it unopened, waiting, the keys inside. But now your eyes drift to the old coat rack near the door, the one she always hated, said it was a splinter hazard. There's a coat on it, not yours. A long, tan trench wet from rain, dripping quietly onto the floor, and dangling from one of the hooks, a single black leather glove, left hand, small size, worn. You don't touch it. You open the envelope instead. Inside the key. Yes, but something else too. A newspaper clipping, folded 4 times, thin, yellowed. Local woman found in woods. Foul play. Suspected. There's no photo, but the name is hers. Only the date. The date is yesterday. Your heart stutters. She's already been found. You never knew she was missing. And yet, her name is typed across the page, like it's trying to erase every memory you ever had of her. The article is brief. Authorities have yet to release details. Foul play suspected. Body discovered near county line. It ends with a sentence that sits in your stomach like a nail. Funeral arrangements pending identification. You fold it back slowly, hands trembling. It can't be a mistake, unless it's not a mistake for you. You slide the envelope back into your coat pocket and grab the glove from the hook. It's damp, but not from the rain, from something stickier, something darker. There's something tucked inside it. You turn it upside down, gently shake. A small metal pin drops into your palm. It's a brooch, a raven, not a crow, a raven, detailed, beautiful, and unmistakably hers. You remember the day she wore it, the day you broke up, the day she told you, with a voice that didn't tremble, "You'll hear from me when you least want to." You had assumed that meant lawyers. Turns out she meant this. You moved to the back of the house, past the darkened den, past the hallway where her cat used to sleep. The windows rattle with the wind until you open one, just enough to hear it. Running water. From the backyard? That shouldn't be happening. There's no rain now, no sprinklers, but the sound is there, steady, rushing, like something forced open. You step outside, into the cold. The grass is overgrown, sharp against your ankles. The air smells like iron and rotting leaves. You follow the sound to the side of the house. There's a drain pipe, long, rusted, and at its mouth, water trickling out. Not storm water, something else, thick, black in the moonlight. You crouch. The source is jammed. You reach in. Your hand meets resistance. You tug. Something comes free. A bundle, wrapped in plastic, duct tape. You unwrap it slowly. Inside a phone. Her phone. You know it's hers because of the chipped rose gold case and the hairline crack on the corner she always swore she'd fix. You press the side button. It powers on. No passcode. Only one photo on the lock screen. Not her face. Yours, sleeping, taken from above, taken, last night. The timestamp says 2:12 a.m. You stare at it. You were alone last night. You haven't let anyone in weeks. Unless, unless someone never left. You grip the phone tighter. Behind you, a branch snaps. You whirl, eyes wide. No one, but you feel it. The watching, the knowing. You stuff the phone in your pocket. You return to the house. But when you step inside, the glove is gone. So is the coat. And now, on the table where the envelope was, a second one has appeared, unsealed. This time, no name, just a note. You're catching up, but not fast enough. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control, and someone's still playing with you. Voices, beneath the floorboards. You don't move right away. You stare at the second envelope, as if it might vanish again if you blink. The room feels tighter now. The walls are breathing. The light bulb above the kitchen table hums louder than before, too loud, like it's agitated. You reach for the envelope. Inside, there's no paper, no photograph, just a single object. A house key, not the one you used to get in. This one is newer, heavier, with a red plastic tag scrawled on it in black marker. You left something behind. You don't ask what, because you already know. Not the key, not the house, the truth. The floor creaks as you move back through the living room. You avoid the window. You're not sure why. Maybe because you're not ready to see your reflection again. Split, cracked, suspicious. Your fingers close around the key in your pocket, the ornate one from the first envelope, the one that doesn't match any lock in the house. And the second key, the one marked with accusation, is growing warmer in your hand. You look down. The floorboard under your feet has changed color slightly, darker, moist. You kneel and press your ear to it. At first, silence, then whispers, faint, distant, familiar, your name. But not the way people say it now, the way she used to say it, the way it sounded when she was in pain, or when she was lying. You tap the board, hollow. You find a loose seam, dig your nails in. It lifts. Below a crawl space, dust, cobwebs, a ladder, rusted but intact, and carved into the wooden lip of the opening, scratched over and over again like a prayer or a curse. I told you, I told you, I told you. You descend into the dark. The smell hits first earth, mildew, something older. The space is tight. You can't stand. You shuffle forward on your knees. Your phone vibrates. Not a call, a notification. 1. Airdrop request. Truth. Recording 001 4A. You accept before thinking. The file begins to play. Her voice. You said you didn't believe me, but I recorded it. I recorded everything. If anything happens to me, check the box under the hearth. It cuts off. There's no timestamp, no metadata, just her voice, like a ghost in your pocket. You crawl back out. The floor above you creaks again, but you're alone. You make your way to the hearth. The fireplace is clean. Yes, but the stone under it isn't solid. One brick jiggles loose. You pull it out. A small metal box sits behind it. Black, padlocked. The ornate key from the first envelope fits perfectly. Inside, cassette tapes, labeled by hand. Session 1, Session 2, Session 3. And at the bottom, her bracelet. The one you bought her. Worn leather, bent clasp. You run your thumb along it. The tapes hum with meaning. She'd been documenting everything, and you never knew. Or maybe you did. Maybe you just didn't care to listen. You slide one of the tapes into your coat pocket and stand. The crawl space remains open, but something's different. A faint, red glow pulses from beneath now, like a heartbeat. You lean closer, the whisperings louder, not just her voice, yours, arguing, accusing, apologizing, things you don't remember saying, but things that sound exactly like you. You slam the floorboard shut. You back away, heart hammering. The room feels off balance. The ceiling too low, the corners too sharp. And now there's music, low, crackling, coming from the record player in the far corner. But you haven't touched it, and the power's off. It spins anyway. A soft piano tune, her favorite. You swallow. You don't know how this ends anymore. All you know is this. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now, something under your feet wants to speak. The photograph, without a face. The piano music halts mid-note, like a breath held too long. Silence crashes over the house like a wave. You move slowly now, each step calculated, as if the floor might collapse beneath you. Or worse, remember something you've forgotten. You edge toward the record player. It isn't plugged in. You're sure of it now. Still, the vinyl spins in place, slow and steady, like a pulse trying to stay calm. Your fingers hesitate before you stop it. When the needle lifts, a soft click echoes through the room. Not from the player, from behind you. You turn. The wall where the family portraits used to hang blank now, except one frame hung crooked, and inside it something new, a photograph you've never seen before. It's old, glossy, yellowed at the corners. 4 people standing in front of the house you're in now. 3 faces you recognize. One of them is yours, but the 4th person scratched out, viciously, deep jagged lines carved through the face with what looks like a key. Not blacked out, erased. But here's the twist that tightens your gut. That person is standing right next to you, arms slung around your shoulder. Your expression in the photo isn't one of fear, it's joy, relief. Whoever that 4th person was, you loved them, and you've completely forgotten their name. Or maybe you were made to forget. You lift the frame off the wall. It's heavier than it should be. Taped to the back, a torn note. You knew I wasn't supposed to be there, but you let it happen anyway. The handwriting, it's neither yours nor hers. It's someone else's. Someone angry. Someone hurt. You sit on the couch, hands shaking slightly. The photo in your lap, the tape still in your coat pocket. You close your eyes and remember something. Something you swore you buried. A cabin, late fall, the smell of pine and gasoline. A voice, female but not hers, screaming, muffled, pleading. And then nothing. No resolution, no ending. Just static. Your hands start to sweat. You stand. You need air. You step out onto the porch. The night has changed. The wind has stilled. And on the porch railing, placed carefully where you can't miss it, a Polaroid, fresh, the chemicals not even dried. A close-up of you, standing at the porch door, right now. Except in the photo, you're smiling. You're not smiling now. You spin around. No one. But the grass has footprints now, leading to the side of the house. You follow them, heart in your throat. They stop at the drain pipe, the same one you pulled her phone from. But this time, something else is waiting at the edge. A second glove, right hand. The pair is complete now. And inside this one, another note. She kept the photograph, but not the memory. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth, it was about control. And the version of you in the photograph, he remembers everything. You shouldn't have answered. That call, the phone vibrates again in your coat pocket twice, fast, like a warning rather than a ring. You hesitate. The name on the screen is blank, not unknown, not private, just nothing, as if the phone forgot who was calling or refused to say. You swipe to answer. Silence, then static, then a breath. Female, soft, shallow, familiar. You open your mouth to speak, but the voice beats you to it. You miss the funeral. You freeze because it's her voice, but slower, off rhythm, like someone mimicking her inflection, but not getting the timing quite right. Who is this, you ask? A pause. Then, not her, not anymore. The line goes dead. You check the call log. No number, no trace, no record it ever happened. Back inside, the air feels thinner. The house is less a structure and more a memory, now walls pulsing with heat, like lungs, like anger. The framed photo, the one with the scratched out face, is back on the wall. But now, all four faces are scratched out, even yours. You step closer. Your pulse drums in your ears. On the glass surface, something is written in condensation. Don't trust the one who remembers. The cassette tape still sits in your coat pocket. You pull it out and head to the old den, where the dusty stereo system waits half buried under a sheet. You lift the fabric. The stereo is on. You don't remember turning it on. You insert the tape and press play. Her voice again. Session 3. He came back today. Pretended he forgot the road. Pretended he didn't know where the key was hidden. But he does. He always has. You clench your fists. You don't remember that day, or you've chosen not to. On the tape, she continues. He says it was an accident, but I think it was a test to see what I'd do, or maybe what I'd remember. He thinks if he hides long enough, the truth won't matter anymore. But lies grow roots, and one day, someone always digs them up. The tape stops. You rewind it and listen again. But this time there's a new part. A voice behind hers, muffled, male, yours, saying, delete it. You don't want this on record. The tape cuts. You lurch back from the stereo. Your legs carry you to the hallway. You need to see her room. You've avoided it long enough. The door opens on the first try. It's exactly as she left it. Except one thing. There's someone sitting on the bed. You freeze in the doorway. The figure doesn't move, doesn't flinch, just stares at the window. You reach for the light switch. It flickers, then stays off. The moonlight spills enough to show the outline of her. Same hair, same frame, but too still. You step closer. Your throat tightens. It's not her. It's a mannequin, dressed in her clothes, wearing her shoes, her scarf, the bracelet from the box, and taped to its forehead a sticky note. You lied to her last. She told the truth too late. You back away, fast. But your phone rings again. This time, the contact says, you. You stare at it until it stops. No voicemail, just a new text. I'm outside. Don't answer again. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now, even you are calling from the dark. The truth tastes like copper. You lock every door, every window. Even the crawl space entrance gets a chair wedged against it like a last-ditch defense. But it won't matter. You know that now, because what's coming isn't breaking in, it's already inside. You step back into the kitchen. It's quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence that listen. You pour a glass of water. Your hands shake. The glass rattles against the counter, like it's afraid of what you'll remember next. You bring it to your lips and stop. There's something floating in the water. Small, metal. You pour it slowly into your palm. A coin. No, not a coin. A button. Red, worn, and burned into its center. A tiny symbol. A scale, like justice, or the pretense of it. You flash back to her coat. The last one she wore before she vanished. The red one, with black buttons. You're holding one of them now, but the coat was buried with her, wasn't it? The taste in your mouth turns metallic, copper, like blood, like betrayal. You rinse your mouth out in the sink, but it lingers. It always lingers, because memory is chemical. It stains the body, not just the mind. You brace your hands on the sink and notice something scratched into the steel beneath your fingertips. You drank it. Too. Your stomach tightens. You stagger back, because now you remember. Not all of it, but enough. There was a night. You were both in the kitchen, late, quiet, not fighting, just exhausted. She made tea, said it would help you sleep. You asked what was in it. She said, just something to help you forget. You smiled. You drank it. You forgot. Until now, your phone buzzes. A new voicemail. No call registered. You press play. It's her voice again. He said he'd come back when the house forgot him. But houses remember. The walls whisper. The floorboards groan. The drains clog with evidence. I tried to save the truth, but the truth doesn't beg. It just waits. And it's hungry. Click. You grab the cassette tape Session 4 from your coat. You slide it into the player. Her voice again. This time, brittle, fractured. He found the box. He wasn't supposed to. I left the key with the priest, but he said he never got it. Either someone intercepted it, or someone never wanted the truth to be told. You pause the tape. The priest. You remember his name? Father Mallory? Retired. Lives upstate now. You had forgotten that part too. But now you're wondering, was the key ever mailed? Or did you take it? You go to the drawer by the sink. The one with the junk, old batteries, rusty scissors. And there it is. A receipt. Dated 6 months ago. One small package. One padded envelope. Addressed to Mallory. In your handwriting. But the post office stamp is missing. Never mailed. Because you never intended to. Your hand shakes. You never gave the priest the chance to protect her. You kept the key. You buried the evidence before there was a crime. And now, you're trying to unbury something that may already be alive. From the living room, the record player starts spinning again. You didn't touch it. A soft voice comes through the speakers. Hers, but she's singing. A lullaby. The same one she hummed when she was scared. Not for you, for herself. And the lyrics aren't right. Not anymore. Sleep, sweet liar. Time will bite. Truth comes crawling in the night. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now, the truth is rising from your throat, and it tastes like copper. That wasn't your signature. The lullaby cuts off mid-word, like someone yanked the cord out of her throat. The silence afterward feels alive, like it's coiled, waiting for you to speak. But you can't, not yet. Your mouth is dry. Your hands tremble. The button still sits in your palm like it's judging you. You slip it into your pocket beside the key. Two relics of a story You're no longer sure you remember living. You walk to the desk in the front hall. She always kept her paperwork there, neatly stacked, indexed by color, obsessively organized. You're not sure what you're looking for, but you find it anyway. A manila folder, buried under tax documents and expired warranties. Your name is written across the front in her handwriting, but there's a second name scrawled beneath it, a name you don't recognize. Devon Kane. You open the folder. Inside a notarized statement, dated 9 months ago, a declaration of ownership, of liability, of guilt, signed by you, initialed, dated, thumbprinted, except you never wrote it. You stare at the signature. It looks like yours, but it isn't. It's too perfect, too consistent. You've never signed your name the same way twice in your life. There's also a witness signature, Devon Kane. Your hands go numb. You pull the document closer, scan the fine print. I hereby acknowledge full responsibility for the events occurring on the property at your address. Your name, your voice in the back of your head screaming, you never signed this, but someone wants it to look like you did. You rifle through the folder. More documents, property deeds, confidential settlements, a restraining order never filed, and attached to it, a post-it note. I didn't file it because I thought you'd change. Your vision tunnels, because now the memory clicks. The night she cried in the driveway, the argument with no end, the envelope you snatched out of her hands and threw into the trash, promising you'd talk in the morning. You never did. You left. And now, someone's filed it for her. Retroactively, illegally, or maybe just finally. You stumble to the kitchen table. Everything around you blurs into memory and accusation. You knew her handwriting better than your own. But some of the documents aren't hers. They're someone else's. And they're not just about you. They're about him. The man in the photo? The one behind her? The one who looked like you? You flip through the folder faster now. A security clearance form. An ID badge application. An intake form for a psychiatric facility. You pause, because at the top, in typed letters, subject Devon Kane, alias your full name. The form says you were committed 3 years ago, but that's impossible. You've never been inside a hospital like that, except you don't remember the entire year of 2022. Not clearly. There's a gap. You always blame the meds, the therapy, the burnout. You feel something cold move up your spine. There's a voice behind your left ear, soft, male. You're not him. He's not you. You spin around. No one. But on the hallway mirror, words scrawled in lipstick. Ask the photograph what it remembers. You walk back to the living room, the photo frame, the one where all 4 faces are scratched out. It's gone. In its place, a new Polaroid. Her alone this time, sitting at the kitchen table. She looks tired, afraid, but she's holding something, a notepad. Your name is at the top, and underneath it, in her writing, one of you signed it, but which you knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now the paper says you're guilty even if you can't remember what for. The window she always left open. You don't remember walking to the back of the house, but there you are, standing in the narrow hallway outside her old bedroom. The air here is colder, still, like the house is holding its breath. The hallway window, tall, thin, barely wide enough to crawl through, is open, just like she always left it. She used to say it helped her sleep. Fresh air keeps the nightmares out. You used to argue about safety, about locks, but she always won, quietly, calmly. And now the window's open again. Even though you're certain you closed it earlier, you inch closer. There's a smear on the glass, a print, 4 fingers, no thumb, small, smaller than yours. You touch it, still wet. Your gaze drops to the sill. There, tucked into the corner, is a small object, a charm, the kind you'd find on a bracelet. Silver, dusty. You squint. A tiny, detailed typewriter. She had a bracelet like that once. You bought it. She wore it for exactly 2 weeks before claiming it pinched. You never saw it again. Until now. You pocket the charm beneath the window. The curtains sway just enough to whisper, and then, faintly on the edge of hearing, a tapping, not from outside, from inside the walls. 3 taps, then silence. 3 again, like a message, like code. You remember the attic crawl space? No one used it. Too small, too awkward, but it had vents that ran through the walls. Old, metal, perfect for voices to travel. You grab the flashlight from the kitchen drawer and head for the attic stairs. They groan with each step, like they're warning the shadows you're coming. The door at the top sticks, but you force it open. Dust greets you first, then cold, then the smell. Not death, not mold, paper, ink. You scan the attic. Boxes line the walls, all labeled in her script. Letters, drafts, transcripts. You open one. Inside pages, dozens, hundreds, all written in the same voice, her voice, but none of them are addressed to you. They're all to him. Devon Kane. You flip through page after page, his handwriting in the margins, corrections, notes, edits, like he was rewriting her. Not her work, her. One page catches your eye, dated 2 months before she vanished, titled Confession Draft 3. You read, he said he wanted to help, said I was unraveling, but it was him, always him. He wears the same face, the same voice, but it isn't him, not the one I knew, not the one I loved. I think I made a mistake. I think I let the wrong one stay. Your stomach drops. The wrong one stayed. A gust of wind slams the attic door shut. The flashlight flickers. You spin around. Something moves in the shadows. You freeze. The flashlight steadies just enough to show a shape, kneeling, facing the wall, hands clasped. You raise the beam higher. It's a mannequin, not like the one before. This one is wearing your clothes, down to the detail. Same shoes, same jacket, same scar drawn on the left hand in red marker. A tag hangs around its neck. Which version are you? You back away, trip, land on another box. It opens, inside photographs. Hundreds, all of you, sleeping, sitting, walking. Some of them inside your current apartment, taken through windows, through peepholes, through mirrors, and every single one has the same word scrawled on the back: imposter. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And someone's been watching both of you for far longer than you knew. A journal with and torn out pages. You drag the box of photographs into the middle of the attic, each image more unnerving than the last. There's no logical explanation, no rational world in which these photos could exist, unless someone has been inside your life, tracing your steps, becoming you. You drop the final photograph on the floor. It shows you, or someone wearing your face, sitting in your car, staring directly into the camera. The timestamp is from last week, but last week your car was in the shop. So either someone's forged the timestamp, or they have your other keys. You stand, knees cracking, The air feels thicker now, like it's been inhaled and held in the dark too long. You push past the mannequins, past the boxes, toward the crawl space door at the back of the attic, the one she always warned you to leave shut. The wood creaks as you touch the knob. It turns easier than it should. Inside is nothing but a single beam of light from a roof vent and an old cedar chest. It's covered in dust and cobwebs, but you know it instantly. Her journal chest. She kept everything in it: dreams, drafts, unfinished stories, to-do lists that read like confessions. You never dared open it while she was alive, but she's not here now. At least, not in the way she was. You kneel and flip the latch. The lid opens with a sigh. Inside a single notebook, black leather, tied shut with a velvet ribbon. You undo it slowly. First page blank. Second page. If you're reading this, it means I waited too long. Third page. He said he was you. You flip further. The pages are filled with her tight cursive, looping letters, sketches in the margins, shadows, faces, keys, clocks. A raven with two heads, but just past the halfway point, the pages have been ripped out, torn, clean, precise, like someone took the time to destroy only the ending. You turn back to the remaining pages. In one entry, she writes, I caught him in the hallway mirror. Not his reflection mine, but different, tilted. He smiled like he'd earned me, like I was a game he'd already won. I looked down and saw the ring on my finger again, the one I took off the day he left. That night, I locked every door, every window but one. I wanted to believe he was gone, but the window stayed open. I needed a way out, or a way back in. You lower the journal. It's not just paranoia, not fiction. She was documenting something she couldn't tell anyone aloud. A doubling, a replacement, a fear of being erased by someone who wasn't quite you. You rifle through the chest again. Beneath the journal, taped to the inside lid, a photograph, a Xeroxed driver's license, yours, but the name Devon Kane. Same face, same birthday, different signature, same one on the forged confession form. You grip the photograph so tightly it crumples. You hear a sound from below, glass breaking, then silence. You move down the attic stairs, slowly, quietly. You don't call out. There's no one to answer you. Or worse, there is, and it's not who you expect. You reach the hallway. A frame has fallen from the wall, shattered, but the photograph inside is new. It's her, lying in a bed, eyes closed, peaceful, except for the small smear of red just beneath her left nostril. Written on the glass in what looks like blood. She knew first. You don't remember hurting her. You never laid a hand on her. But you did lie. You did gaslight. You did watch her unravel, and you walked away. Because it was easier than facing what she knew, or what he made her believe. Now, you're not even sure you're you. In your jacket pocket, the charm rattles. You take it out. The tiny typewriter. Still cold. You twist it. The bottom opens. Inside a curled slip of paper. Page 73. You wrote it. I just lived it. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now the journal's ending is gone because someone's still writing it. She dreamed of Joe drowning rain, not outside, inside. You hear it before you see it, soft dripping from the ceiling above the stairwell. A steady blink, blink, blink that echoes like a metronome ticking down to something you don't want to meet. You follow the sound upstairs. The light bulb on the landing flickers as you pass, then dies completely. The darkness doesn't bother you now. It feels familiar, expected, like stepping into a dream you've already had. The guest room door is open again. You closed it. You know you did. But now it's wide, waiting like a mouth before a scream. You enter. The bed is soaked, sheets clinging to the mattress. The carpet underfoot squelches like wet moss, and on the wall above the bed, a dark stain blooming outward from the ceiling. You don't look up. You already know what's there. You approach the nightstand. There's a new item resting there. A dream journal, spiral bound, water warped, pages stuck together. Her name is written on the inside cover, and next to it, in smaller print, a note. These aren't dreams, they're warnings. You turn to the first legible page. I'm at the lake again. Same dream. Cold water, heavy clothes. I can't breathe. He's on the shore, watching, not moving, not helping. Sometimes I scream, sometimes I don't. He never hears me, or he pretends not to. You flip to another entry. The dreams are becoming memories, or maybe the memories are just disguised as dreams. I drowned once, not physically, but emotionally, slowly, in trust, in him. You close the book. You remember the lake trip 3 years ago. You had a fight. You left the cabin for hours. She swam alone. When you returned, she was sitting by the water, silent. You never asked what happened. You assumed she just needed space. But now, you wonder if something happened out there, or someone. You leave the guest room, back down the hallway. But the air shifts, thicker, wetter. A breeze whispers through the open bathroom door. The mirror is fogged over, despite no hot water, no showers, no reason. You step closer and wipe it clean, and your reflection doesn't match. It stares back with the same clothes, same eyes, but it's smiling, and your mouth is not. You freeze. So does it. Then, slowly, the smile fades. Its lips move. You let her sink. You reel back, stumbling into the hallway. The lights flicker. Downstairs, the stereo starts again. Not music this time. Water. The sound of gasping. You descend. The living room is dry. Normal. But the speakers play a loop. Help me, please. You promised each phrase. Just her voice. Short, cropped, stitched together like fragments from a confession tape. You rip the cord from the outlet. The audio keeps playing. It's not plugged in. You shout, enough, and the voice stops. Silence. Then, from the hallway, another voice. Yours. Why won't you let go? You spin around. Nothing there. But on the wall, written in black marker, because someone still thinks you're innocent. You return to the kitchen. The table's wet. A trail of small puddles leads to the basement door. It's cracked open now. A faint blue light seeps out from below. You don't want to go, but you do, because you have to, because you're not sure you'll survive if you don't. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And in her dreams, she drowned because you let her go. Everyone at the funeral lied. The basement steps groan with every shift of your weight. The blue light pulses below, flickering like it's underwater. You grip the railing, cold and damp beneath your palm. Each step feels like a descent into something deeper than the house, deeper than memory, deeper than guilt. The air down here doesn't smell like mildew anymore. It smells like perfume, hers, the exact scent she wore when she wanted something from you, when she needed you to believe her, and you didn't. The light source is a single bulb, swinging slightly from the ceiling, its cord twisting like a noose. And under that light, set carefully on the concrete floor, is a display you never wanted to see. A casket, small, unfinished wood, no handles, no lining, open, empty. No, not empty. Inside pages, hundreds, all handwritten, taped, stapled, scrawled, funeral transcripts. You kneel, numb fingers lifting the top page. Eulogy, read by her sister. She was difficult, but she meant well. I think she needed help. We all failed her, in our way. The next one, Father Mallory, officiating. She was a restless spirit, a doubter. I hope she finds peace now. And the next, your name, you, delivered by him. I don't know what happened. I wish I could have stopped it. But in the end, she made her choices. You never gave a eulogy. You never even showed up. But here it is, word for word. You read it again. It's perfect. Too perfect. Like a script written about you. By someone who knew what you'd say if you were the kind of man who told the truth. A soft knock echoes through the ceiling. Not above the basement. Above the casket. You look up. A square panel of wood. The old coal chute. She used to hide things there. You drag a stool under it. Climb up. The panel lifts. Inside a plastic bag. Inside the bag a flash drive. You plug it into the small laptop she kept near the fuse box. It boots. Autoplay enabled. A video starts. The camera is shaky. Dim. She's speaking directly into it. If you're seeing this, I guess you finally showed up. Took you long enough. They all lied at the funeral. Everyone who spoke. Everyone who stood and watched and nodded. No one told the truth. Not really. Because if they had, they would have said this, I was scared. And no one listened. He looked like you. Talked like you. But he wasn't you. Or maybe he was. And that's what scared me most. She takes a breath. Tears smear her mascara. But she doesn't cry. Not really. They thought I was paranoid. They said I made you up. But I didn't. I remembered. I wrote it all down. I told them, one of him is kind. One of him is a lie. They said I was confusing fiction with memory. The screen glitches. A cut. Now she's closer, whispering. I buried it all under the floor. The truth, the real truth. If you want to know who you are, go find it. The video ends. The screen goes black. And on the dark screen, reflected faintly, you see your own face. And behind you a second face, almost yours, smiling. Gone when you spin. But the message lingers. You stagger backward. Your heel kicks the casket. The pages flutter. You stare down. A new page sits on top. One you didn't see before. Typed. One sentence. He said the truth would ruin you. He was right. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now, even the funeral was scripted because no one wanted the real story told. A key that unlocks. Nothing. You climb back up from the basement. Every step heavier than the one before. The silence isn't silent anymore. It hisses, low and constant, like feedback from a speaker with no message left to deliver. The hallway mirror reflects a version of you that doesn't flinch, that doesn't blink, that just stares, daring you to keep pretending. You look away first. Back in the kitchen, you lay everything out on the table. The torn journal, the charm, the typewritten confession, the flash drive, the forged signature, and now 3 keys. The first from the manila envelope, ornate, brass, old world. The second, The red-tagged house key with the ominous message, "You left something behind." The third, from your own keyring. You line them up. You've tried the doors, the drawers, the attic. None of them match the ornate key. You pace, then remember the crawl space, the first place you heard her voice, the trapdoor in the living room. You move the rug aside, fingers wedging under the loose board, lifting it with a reluctant groan. Stale air meets you. You descend again. The floor beneath the house feels older than the rest of it, as if the house was built over something it couldn't quite forget. At the far end of the crawl space, your flashlight flickers across something metal, a small lockbox, painted black, smeared with what looks like candle wax. You try the brass key. It slides in, turns, the box doesn't open. Instead, the lock clicks once and then snaps off completely, like it's giving up. You lift the lid. Inside, nothing. Not empty in the casual way, empty in the cruel way, like something was taken, like you just missed it. You tilt the box. A small slip of paper clings to the inside. You pull it out, written in smudged ink. You were too late. Again, you slam the lid shut. You scream into the dark, but it doesn't echo, because the crawl space is listening, and it doesn't want answers. It wants acknowledgement. You crawl backward until you're under the living room again, and that's when you hear the door upstairs open. Not a creak, a deliberate click. You freeze, then footsteps. 1, 2, measured, unhurried. Whoever's upstairs isn't searching. They already know. You wait. The footsteps reach the top of the stairs. Then stop. Silence. Then your ringtone from upstairs. But your phone is in your coat pocket. You check. It's gone. You crawl out of the floor. You reach the stairs and look up. A figure stands there, just at the landing. Backlit, shadowed. Same build, same jacket, same stillness. You don't speak, because what would you say? The figure turns slowly, steps out of view. A door closes. You follow. At the top of the stairs, there's no one there, but the guest room door is shut. You open it. Slow. Inside the mannequin, still dressed in her clothes, but now it wears a mask. A crude cutout of your face, held in place with safety pins. You step closer. Pinned to the chest a Polaroid. You and her. In the background, someone else watches from a second-floor window. You flip the photo over. He wore you better than you ever could. You sit on the floor, hands shaking, because now you understand what she was trying to tell you. Someone didn't just imitate you. They became you, because you gave them room to do it. Because you ignored her when she was still trying to speak. Because you were so busy convincing everyone you were innocent that you never realized she was already buried in the lie. You pull out the keys again. You stare at them and realize none of them open what you want. Because the lock you're looking for isn't on a door. It's on you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And the truth, it left the house long before you ever came back. Your alibi was too perfect. You sit on the guest room floor for what feels like hours, though the clock on the wall is frozen at 3:17. And you're starting to believe it always has been. The mannequin's mask stares down at you. Your own features warped into a fixed, grinning stillness. It's not a mockery. It's a replacement. You stand. You don't feel rested. You feel like something's shifted. A thought clicks into place. Something she said in the journal. I told them he was too perfect. That's how I knew he wasn't real. You leave the room and head for the study. The one you never entered back then because you told her it was her space. The one she locked every night. even when you were still together. You try the doorknob. Locked. You reach for the red tagged key, the one labeled. You left something behind. It fits, turns, the door opens, and you step into a timeline you never lived, but one that someone wanted to believe. The study is clean, catalogued, meticulously curated. It's not just a workroom, it's a shrine to evidence. On the far wall, newspaper clippings form a crude constellation. Woman reported missing after mental health episode. No signs of foul play. Say, authorities, partner cleared after proving out-of-state alibi. You move closer. There it is, your name, right beneath the headline. Verified location at time of disappearance, business trip, Atlanta. You blink because you remember being in Atlanta. You remember every minute of that weekend. You even have the receipts, the calendar alerts, the parking validation. But now, you see the photo tacked beside the article. It's from the hotel lobby. You checking in. But your left arm, visible just below your jacket, has a small tattoo, a symbol, a scale. The same one burned into the red button you found in your glass. You don't have that tattoo. You never have. You sit at the desk, pull open the drawer. Inside, a stack of documents, employment records, credit card statements, all legitimate, all his, and all filed under your name. A perfect identity overlay, enough to fool anyone, even you. Your hands shake as you open the laptop on the desk. It requires no password. A desktop background, a photograph of her, asleep. You shouldn't have this picture. No one should. A folder sits on the desktop, labeled The Right Him. You open it. Dozens of video files, voice recordings, emails, all of them yours or close enough. The cadence, the tone, but none of them you. In one video, you're on a call with her. You say, "I'm sorry I wasn't what you needed." She replies, "You were too perfect. That's how I knew." He says, "That's not my fault. That's yours. You wanted someone who didn't argue." You slam the lid shut. The room tilts. The air thickens. A note is taped to the side of the bookshelf. Your alibi was too perfect. That's how she knew it wasn't you. You reel backward because suddenly the timeline fractures and a memory that didn't belong to you before now fits too well. You remember standing at the Atlanta hotel desk. You remember smiling, but now you remember what you said to the receptionist. The name's Kane, Devon Kane. You collapse onto the floor, not from exhaustion, from unraveling. It wasn't a disguise. It wasn't an imposter. It was you, or the part of you that you locked away, the part that said what needed to be said, that crafted the version of yourself that was easier to love, easier to believe, and you let him walk around, pretending to be whole, while she slipped into fear and doubt and silence, because no one could tell which you was real. Not even you. On the far wall, something new is written in black paint. It wasn't there before. A single sentence. She begged the wrong you to save her. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And the perfect alibi was always the most damning thing you had. The recording left for someone else. You don't remember standing, but you're upright again, staring at the desk like it just confessed to something too awful to write down. The laptop screen has gone black, but the faint glow of the power light pulses like a slow heartbeat. You reach for the recorder on the corner of the desk, a small handheld model, old, dusty, her initials carved into the side. You press play, but the voice that speaks isn't yours. isn't hers, it's his. If you're listening to this, it means I lost control. The voice is low, calm, too calm. It wears your tone like a costume. It got messy. I told her too much, or not enough. Hard to say. Either way, she figured it out. You freeze. The voice continues. I didn't want to hurt her. That was never the plan. But when someone stops being useful, they become dangerous, especially someone like her, someone who keeps notes. There's a long pause, then a soft, strange chuckle. I think I started believing I was really him. That's the problem with stepping into a life that doesn't fit you. Either tailor it to you or tear it at the seams. Another pause. If this ends up in the wrong hands, well, then maybe you're the wrong hands, or maybe you're what's left of the right ones. Either way, good luck. Click. The recorder stops. You rewind it. But when you hit play again, it's different. Her voice, panicked, breathless. If you found this, it wasn't for you. Then, static. The file corrupts. The recorder dies in your hand. You drop it onto the desk, but it doesn't make a sound when it lands, like the air around it refuses to acknowledge the truth. On the windowsill, something glints. A phone, her phone, the one you found in the drain pipe. You must have left it upstairs. But here it is again. You unlock it. There's one new message. From unknown, sent just now. Now subject, final entry. He made her doubt you. Then he made you doubt you. That was the real crime. Attached an audio file. You hit play. It's a recording of her. You always told me I was paranoid, that I saw patterns that weren't there. But what if the patterns were the point? What if that's how he kept me confused? He looked like you, but not in the way strangers look alike. In the way mirrors distort when they're cracked. One day you said something to me, only it wasn't something you would say. And I knew. I tried to leave, but by then, I think I was already gone. You sit in her chair now, because standing feels dishonest. Everything you thought was lost, every truth you thought was buried, it was archived, quietly, forensically, but never for you. The tapes, the keys, the Polaroids, the playback loops, they weren't trails to follow. They were warnings, breadcrumbs she left for someone she trusted would arrive after the damage was done. And it wasn't you. You rise slowly. The house groans again. Not in protest this time, but in release, like something inside it has finally stopped holding its breath. On the way out of the room, you pause in the doorway, carved into the frame, only visible in the right light. If he's reading this, tell him I forgive him, but not the version of him who hurt me. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And this recording, it was never meant for your ears, but it found you anyway. The room behind the mirror. You return to the hallway, to the bathroom, to the cracked mirror. You know where you're going now. You just don't know what you'll find once you're there. The mirror has always been wrong, not because it shows you something false, but because it sometimes shows you too much. A version of yourself that lingers a second too long when you turn away. A face that twitches when yours doesn't move. A smile that arrives before your lips curve. You reach behind it. The medicine cabinet creaks open. You feel around the back, past the empty prescription bottles and the single chipped razor blade. There's a seam. You press, click. The mirror doesn't swing open. It slides. A narrow passage is revealed behind it. Dark, dusty, and lined with foam padding, like a soundproofed studio. You step inside. The smell hits you first. Not rot, not mold, old perfume, skin, heat, fear. You follow the passage to a door, unlabeled, heavy. A single peephole sits at eye level. You look through. You see the living room, your living room, from the inside. This isn't a closet. It's a surveillance room. You open the door. It creaks, a deep, aching sound that makes your skin crawl. The room beyond is small, square, cold. Inside monitors, 12 of them, all off, except one. You step closer. The working monitor shows a feed, black and white, grainy. The guest room, live. The mannequin still sits on the bed, still wearing her clothes, still masked in your face. But now, it's moved. Its head is tilted toward the camera, like it knows you're watching. You scan the desk, video logs, cassettes, burned CDs labeled with names and dates. But they're not her name. They're yours, your workplaces, your routines, your habits. Each disc is labeled like a chapter in a biography you didn't agree to write. You press play on one. Footage appears. You, 3 years ago, reading a newspaper on your porch. You don't remember this moment being recorded because it wasn't supposed to be, because someone was inside your walls before you ever came back. In the far corner of the room, a chair. Strapped to it, restraints. Not for violence, for stillness. Next to it, a makeup kit, foundation, scar putty, contact lenses, hair dye, impersonation gear. You touch the mirror above the vanity. Behind the grime, words are scratched into the surface. You can't wear someone else forever. You walk back to the monitors. 2 more screens flicker on. The hallway, the basement, and now, the camera in the bathroom. It's watching you, but you're not moving. You're staring into the mirror again, and the person in the feed is still standing there, even though you've already stepped away. You run, back through the hidden hall, back through the mirror, back into the bathroom, and you're alone. You check the monitor again. The feed shows you, still frozen, head tilted, eyes smiling. You unplug everything. Nothing turns off. You smash the screen. It cracks, but the image stays. The person on the screen tilts their head in the other direction, not mirrored, independent. And in the silence between heartbeats, you hear a voice from the mirror, yours. You let me in. You fall to your knees. You knew this room wasn't just for watching. It was for becoming. She must have found it. She must have realized what it meant. And maybe that's why she left all the evidence behind. Not to expose him, to expose you. Because in trying to find out who took your place, you've started to realize something worse. You may have been the one wearing the mask all along. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now, you've seen the room behind the mirror, but the mirror is still watching you. The letter in your handwriting. You stumble out of the mirrored room like it spit you back into the house, rejecting you from its secrets. But the house doesn't feel the same. The air has thickened. The layout warps in subtle ways, the hallway slightly longer, the shadows stretching faster than the light. You want to believe it's your mind. You need to believe it's your mind. But you've seen too much now, and you've remembered just enough. The study door swings open as you pass by, like it's expecting you. A single sheet of paper rests on the desk, folded, cream stock, heavy. Your name is on the front. Your full name. Not the one she used when she was angry. Not the one your employer knows. The real one. You unfold it. You recognize the pen strokes instantly. They're yours. Not copied. Not forged. Written in your exact rhythm. The loops on the L's. The tilt of the T's. but you have no memory of writing it. Still, you read. If you're reading this, it means you've reached the part where denial no longer protects you. You let him in. You let him wear your face. You told yourself it was necessary, that she needed the calm version of you, the rational version, the one who didn't argue, didn't escalate, didn't ask questions. You created him. And when she tried to tell the difference, you silenced her. Your fingers tremble. You turn the page. The second half is in her handwriting. You wrote it together. I know what you did. I know you're trying to forget. I know part of you still believes I'm gone, but I'm not. I'm everywhere in this house, and so is he. Choose wisely who you keep living as. One of you still has time, the other already burned. You drop the letter, but the words follow you, because you do remember now. You'd started seeing a therapist, private, off the record. She told you about cognitive separation, creating an emotional proxy, a version of yourself designed to cope when the real you couldn't. You named him something casual, Devon. He made life easier. He handled confrontation. He told the little lies. He made her stop crying. He made you feel safe from yourself. But then you started letting Devon answer the phone, go to work, talk to her, and eventually you weren't sure who said what or when. The front door creaks open. A breeze rolls through the hallway. You hear footsteps on the porch, slow, steady, familiar. You don't run. You walk toward it because there's nowhere left to hide. You open the door, and there he stands. Same eyes, same mouth, same scar on the left hand. He smiles, but his smile knows. You don't speak, because what could you possibly say to yourself? He tilts his head, then hands you something. An envelope, unsealed, inside a photo. Her, smiling, holding a note. The note reads, "You weren't supposed to break." He turns and walks away. No urgency, no goodbye. Just the sound of your own shoes on gravel as he disappears down the drive. You go back inside. You stare at the mirror in the hallway. For once, the reflection matches. Not perfectly, but honestly. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And the letter in your handwriting. It was a confession you wrote for the version of you who finally woke up. The trial you slept through. You sit in the living room again, not because you're tired, but because you're done running. The truth isn't out there anymore. It's here. It's been here the whole time, sitting in drawers and journals and tapes and behind glass, hiding in reflections and playback loops and pieces of your own voice you no longer trust. You pull out the last cassette from the coat pocket, session 10. You've been avoiding it. Not because it's the last, because you already know what's on it, and you've been pretending you don't. You slide it into the player and press play. Her voice greets you. Calm now. Clear. You won't remember this at first, but I need you to listen all the way through, because this isn't just a recording. It's the verdict. You lean forward. She continues. The trial happened. Not the one with judges or bailiffs or statements read into silence. This one happened inside the walls, inside the mirror, inside you. You pause the tape, because now you remember some of it. The night you woke in a motel room you didn't check into, wearing a shirt that wasn't yours, with your face looking back in the mirror, but too polished, too rehearsed, and a message written in fog on the glass. You lost, but you weren't even awake to fight. You unpause. I testified. I showed them everything. The bruises you didn't leave. The silence that came louder than screaming. I played the tapes. I told them about the man who wore your voice like a calm threat. I told them about the days you stopped asking what I needed and started giving me only what you thought I deserved. Your chest tightens. She's not angry in the tape. She's resolved. That's worse. There were witnesses. Two. The priest who never got the key. The neighbor who saw you leave twice in the same day. The detective who noticed your handwriting changing on official reports. You close your eyes. You remember now. The court wasn't real. It was a test of conscience. And you failed because you let Devon speak on your behalf. The sentence wasn't time. It wasn't prison. It was this house, these tapes, this loop of not knowing if you were the one who hurt me or the one who let him do it. The tape stops, then clicks, and her voice returns, quieter now, closer. If you made it to the end, maybe you've woken up, maybe you're finally on the jury now, and maybe you'll do what I couldn't tell the truth about which version of you survived. You sit in stillness, no wind, no ticking clocks, no reflection, just you and the evidence, and the question echoing louder than any verdict. Are you who came back or who never left? You look to the side table. Another envelope has appeared. You don't open it because now you know it doesn't matter what's inside. The sentence has already been served. You just slept through it. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control and the trial. It ended when she stopped waiting for you to tell the truth. The witness who changed everything. The envelope on the side table stares at you like a final question. Not demanding, not accusing, just waiting. You open it. Inside one Polaroid, one note. The photo is familiar. A group shot, taken in front of the house. You, her, and two others. One is blurred beyond recognition, but the other, you haven't seen her in years. Not since the night everything started to fray. Not since the night you told her you were done listening. The note is short. 5 words. She remembers what you forgot. You drive. The keys don't feel like yours anymore, but the car starts anyway. The house fades behind you, swallowed by mist and guilt and the question of who you were when you walked out its door. You don't use GPS. You remember the road. Your hands steer by memory alone, as if someone else is guiding them from beneath your skin. You arrive at a plain apartment building, beige brick, no name. You buzz the number on the paper. No answer. Then the door clicks. You enter, climb the stairs, knock once, then twice. She opens the door slowly. Time has touched her face, but the eyes haven't changed. Neither has the way she looks at you, like she's weighing which version of you showed up. You don't speak. She gestures you inside. Her place is small, lived in. Dust gathers on unread books. A record hums low in the background, no lyrics, just wobbled piano notes. You sit across from her. She hands you a folder without a word. Inside, copies of every document you thought only the house held. The forged statements, the therapy reports, the photos, even the police transcript you never gave. You look up. Her voice is low, unforgiving. She told me everything. The part you wouldn't listen to, the part you wouldn't let her say. You grip the folder tighter. She continues. You weren't the only one there that night. She called me just before. A long silence. She lets the weight settle. I heard him in the background. Calm, practiced. You but hollowed out. She looks at you like she's trying to find pieces of that man still lingering in your face. And when I got there, she was already gone. Not dead, just done. You ask, why didn't you come forward? Her answer is simple. because I didn't know which one of you I'd be testifying against. The sentence slams against your chest like a verdict with no gavel. You look away. She doesn't let you escape. But I know now, the one who walked into my apartment tonight, he's the one who stayed quiet too long. Not the imposter, not the mask, just you, the you who chose silence. You ask, why help me now? Her expression softens, only slightly, because guilt that deep doesn't come from pretending. It comes from remembering. She slides a final envelope across the table, sealed. On it, your handwriting. You pick it up. You don't remember writing it, but it feels like something you meant to say. If I forget again, remind me I was the one who stayed. You stare at the words. She places a hand on top of yours. She told the truth. Too late. Now it's your turn. Before it is, you drive back to the house, alone, but not empty. Because now, someone else remembers. Someone who chose to remember. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And sometimes, all it takes to change everything is a witness who finally speaks. Her truth came too late. The house greets you like a wound you've decided not to bandage anymore. You close the door behind you, not to feel safe. There's no such thing here, but to mark the return. The floorboards no longer creak in protest. They recognize you now. So do the shadows. So does the silence. You stand in the living room, surrounded by boxes of truths you tried not to open, voices you tried not to hear, reflections you tried not to become. And now, it's time to finish it. You pull the last tape from your pocket. Session 12, the one you didn't know you had. You place it into the recorder. It clicks softly, like it's sighing in relief. Her voice, once more. This is the last one. If you're here, if you're really here, then maybe you're finally listening. You sit down, because she deserves that. I tried to give you chances, so many. I screamed, then whispered, then went silent. You only heard what you wanted. And then I stopped talking altogether, because you can't speak to someone who's been replaced. Your hands tighten around the recorder, but her voice continues, soft and strong. I know now that he wasn't some stranger. He was the part of you you couldn't face, and the part I tried to love anyway. A long pause. Then I wanted to be believed. I left clues, letters, but the world doesn't listen to quiet women until they vanish. And by the time I told the truth, everyone had already chosen the lie. You press your forehead to the table. The weight of her last words is unbearable, because they are for you and about you. I forgive you, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Don't bury me again. Don't let him come back. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You were loved, even when I was afraid of you. The tape clicks, silence. Real this time, permanent. You rise, gather the tapes, the photos, the letters, and walk to the fireplace, the one that was always cold. You place each piece gently inside. You don't burn them to forget. You burn them to remember you don't need them anymore, because what matters is already inside you, and you won't forget again. Upstairs, the mirror doesn't show anyone else now. No twin, no mask, no smiling ghost. Just you, eyes red, but open, finally. In the hallway, a note waits for you on the floor. Unfolded, simple, 5 words. She's gone, but not erased. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control, and her truth came too late. But yours, you still have time. The house is still now. No creaks, no voices, no reflections that move when you don't. You sit in the quiet, letting the silence wrap around you like a heavy blanket, thick, weighted, warm in a way that isn't comfort, but closure. Somewhere behind the walls, the tapes have stopped spinning. The mannequin no longer waits in the guest room. The mirror shows only one face, and it's yours. Cracked, imperfect, but finally, honest. You won't ever really know when the lie started. Whether it began the moment she stopped trusting you, or the moment you started believing there was only one version of yourself worth protecting. What you do know, she told the truth, and no one believed her. Until now. Maybe that's the real ending. Not a confession, not a punishment, but an acknowledgement. That remembering is the first step to becoming someone else, someone better, someone true. The rain starts again, gentle, distant, like applause from a jury that didn't need to speak its verdict aloud. You lock the front door not out of fear, but out of ritual. The past won't knock again, not if you leave the right version of yourself behind. So rest now. You've made it to the end, and some things, some faces don't come back when you wake. End of script. Sleep well and watch your back.